Welcome to Story Time. Today's story is Rumpelstiltskin, narrated by me, Kim St. Clair. Thanks for joining me. Let's get to the story. Rumpelstiltskin. Once upon a time, there was a poor miller who had a beautiful daughter. Her eyes were the color of cornflower. She had pink, rosy cheeks. She was lovely and clever, and the miller couldn't resist everyone telling about her. One day, the king rode through the village. The miller desperately wanted to impress the king.
"Your Highness, my daughter is pretty and smart," he boasted.
But the king took no notice.
"She can also spin straw into gold,"
the miller added, sure that this would get the king's attention.
"Whoa!"
The king stopped his horse and demanded to meet the miller's daughter. He took her back to his castle and led her up to a winding staircase to a room in a turret. There she found a spinning wheel and a towering pile of straw.
"Spin this straw into gold by morning," said the king, "or you'll be thrown into the dungeon."
As soon as the king left, the miller's daughter began to cry. Even if she had a year to spin the straw into gold, she couldn't, for she didn't know how. Thinking about the dark, dingy dungeon, she cried even louder. Just then, a funny little man danced into the room, clicking his heels and tapping his toes. Spinning straw into gold as easy as it can be. But if I do that for you, what will you give me? The miller's daughter offered the little man her necklace, and quick as a flash, he spun the straw into gold thread. The next morning, the king was so pleased that he brought the girl an even bigger pile of straw. Again, he ordered her to spin it into gold by dawn. Well, she didn't know how to do that. Sure that she would be dragged to the dungeon, the miller's daughter wept again. And just as before, the funny little man jigged into the room. Spinning straw is easy into gold as easy as it can be. But if I do that for you, what will you give me? This time the miller's daughter gave the little man her ring. Quick as a flash, he spun the straw into gold thread that gleamed in the morning light. The king was delighted and wanted more and more and more. He brought the girl a pile of straw so tall it reached the ceiling. She was told to spin it into gold by sunrise. Once more the little girl cried, and the funny little man hopped and skipped into the room. Spinning straw is easy as it can be. If you want to spin it into gold, that's me. What will you give me? This time the miller's daughter had nothing left to offer him. He made her a promise to give him her firstborn child. Then, flying fingers and toes a-tapping, he spun the straw into gold. The king was overjoyed with the golden thread that he asked the miller's daughter to marry him. They held the wedding the next day, and the miller almost burst into pride when his daughter became the queen. The king and queen were very happy, and the miller was poor no longer. A year after the wedding, the queen had a baby boy. She had forgotten all about the funny little man and the promise that she had made. One day, while the queen hummed a lullaby, the funny little man danced into the nursery and demanded the baby prince. "Please don't take my son," the queen begged. The little man thought for a moment and then said, "You can keep the prince. You've got 3 days to guess my name." The queen lay awake at night, making a list of all the names that she could think of. The evening, the little man twirled into the nursery again. Is your name Harry, Larry, Barry? Asked the queen. But all of her guesses were wrong. You've got 2 more days to guess my name. The next day, the queen sent messengers all over the land to find out the names. Then that evening, the little man appeared again. Are you Tim or Jim? Asked the queen. No, all of her guesses were wrong. You've got 1 more day to guess my name. The next day, the queen's servant was chopping logs in the deep, deep woods, when he heard a strange sound. He ducked behind a pine tree and watched a funny little man leaping around. The queen will never guess my name, for Rumpelstiltskin is my name. The servant hurried home. Quickly, quickly he walked. That evening, when the little man danced in, she said, is your name Doodlebug? Twiddlywink? Flibbler little jitlet? The little man laughed and laughed and laughed. Do you give up? No, not yet. I know your name is Rumpelstiltskin. The little man's face turned as red as a beet, and he howled, what a shame, what a shame, the queen knows my name. Throwing himself on the floor, he kicked his feet, pounded his fists. Rumpelstiltskin tumbled through the floor and was never seen again. The end. And that's the story of Rumpelstiltskin. Thanks for joining us. Join us again for another story here at Story Time.